What's up, guys? And welcome back to another live Q&A. This time a little bit different because I'm going to start off with a topic. And as you can see from the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about centralized crypto exchanges versus decentralized. Like always, a little bit of house cleaning. If you guys can hear me, say yes in the chat box. And if you guys can see me, say yes in the chat box. And so let me just close some windows over here. Cool. All right, guys. So let me begin talking about centralized exchanges versus decentralized exchanges. There's two trains of thoughts over here. So number one, what is a centralized exchange? Centralized exchange is a company that provides access and liquidity for cryptocurrencies. There are two types of centralized exchanges. There are crypto-only centralized exchanges, and then there's fiat gateway crypto centralized exchanges such as Coinbase, Coinsquare, etc. Versus, for example, Bittrex. So, for example, let's say centralized exchange. You go on there, you connect your credit card, or you can do an e-transfer, or you can do a wire transfer, and you wait. Finally, your fiat gets there. For the most part, people, I don't know if it's your fiat, they might be using, for example, Tether. You know, each exchange is different. Whatever, it's fiat currency there. And then you make a trade, right? You want to buy some Bitcoin, you want to buy some Ether, whatever you want to do, and you hold it on there. And so that's a central exchange. They act as a gatekeeper for you to buy crypto and for you to sell crypto, whether that is a fiat or crypto-based centralized exchange. Then you have a decentralized exchange, which there is no middleman. It's a little bit more complicated. The technology is quite not there yet. The liquidity is quite not there yet. Obviously, there's the issue with fiat gateways because it's almost nearly impossible for you to onboard your fiat towards the decentralized exchange, at least for now. Companies like 0x and Kyber are working on solutions for that. Anyways, the purpose of this video is talking about, listen, at the end of the day, what are cryptocurrencies? Well, in my eyes, if I'm looking at Bitcoin, and if I'm looking at Monero, and if I'm looking at, let's say, Zcash, and I'm focusing more or less on the decentralized, open source, privacy versus semi-privacy coins, I'm looking at the fact that they should be censorship resistant, and they should be, as Satoshi Nakamoto said in his white paper, peer-to-peer. So the key word here is peer-to-peer, right? And so for me, even though I love centralized exchanges, meaning they're a great stepping stone for people to get wet, meaning to first get a little bit taste of this ecosystem. Like, I know a lot of people, they don't like Coinbase, but I'm on the opposite side. I think Coinbase is amazing. Think of how many people they've onboarded, right? So people always look at the negativity at the beginning, but if it wasn't for Coinbase, I don't think so half the companies would exist today. I don't think so half the market would be here if it wasn't for Coinbase, right? So yes, Coinbase has done way more net utility benefit in the ecosystem as opposed to a lot of people talking about negative utility. And so I love what they've done. I love what Coinsquare has done. I love what most centralized exchanges, specifically Coinbase. However, if we want to progress with Bitcoin and Monero and Zcash, and if you want to control your currencies, your crypto, it is of utmost importance that you control your private keys, and of utmost importance that you can buy Bitcoin directly vis-a-vis peer-to-peer, as I mentioned earlier. This is why I love local Bitcoin. I think they're awesome. This is why I like ATMs, even though I'm not the biggest fan of. There's some really cool ones. I'm launching some soon, which will be much cheaper than others. ATMs to buy crypto because you don't have to go through any middleman per se. And so that's why I'm quite bullish on decentralized exchanges, because it actually aligns perfectly with how crypto should be, where it's a peer-to-peer transaction, where if I want to buy Bitcoin, I can go on there with Ether, with Zcash, with Monero, with whatever token I have or crypto, and I can say, hey, I want to buy Bitcoin for X. I'm putting a buy order out there. There's going to be relayers out there. There's going to be independent order book keepers out there. Then there's going to be sellers of the crypto. And so seller comes around like, yeah, I'm going to fill that order for you. I buy from him for whatever cost, maybe say even like 0.1, 0.2%, way cheaper than centralized exchanges that charge like 4 to 5% for transaction fees, which to make a killing, that's their business model. But this is where we need to go. Because for cryptocurrencies specifically, the utility of it, the safety of it, the control of it, it needs to be in the control of you. You need to control your private keys. You need to have the option and not just say option, I'll say with a plural optionality of different resources for you to buy crypto from an individual or individuals. And so where I think where we're going to see in the future is where more and more decentralized exchanges go online with mainnet and more, I would say, players go in there, not just liquidity. What I mean by players, buyers and sellers and relayers and nodes and order books, etc. And more interoperability with atomic swaps, meaning I can literally in real time switch from Ether to Bitcoin for free. When we see that, we will see it actually decline in profitability of centralized exchanges. My prediction is more or less centralized exchanges will be used for maybe retail and institutional investors and maybe mom and pop. A majority of the crypto space will flow into decentralized exchanges for a couple of reasons, as I mentioned. Number one, it stays true to what cryptocurrency is meant to be. And number two, just based on money, osmosis, as I like to say, why should I pay 4 to 5% and go through a gatekeeper when I can pay almost nothing or maybe even 0.1% to get my crypto that's from a person to person? And above all, most important, I keep my private keys. I control my Bitcoin, not somebody else, right? We don't want to Mt. Gox again. We don't want the government having backdoor in these exchanges and all of a sudden your crypto is gone. You want to control your crypto. So the future, and this is why Binance, in fact, is building a decentralized exchange because they know their business model in the super long run, it's going to decrease. And that's my prediction. I've been saying the last year or so is like, it's a race to the bottom with these big centralized exchanges. They know it with atomic swaps and decentralized exchanges. It's going to completely change the game. So that's my quick rant about centralized versus decentralized. We need decentralization. You need to hold your private keys. Where's my little guy? I don't care if you have a keep key, a ledger, a Trezor, but keep your private keys. If you don't control your private keys, you don't control your crypto. I'm going to repeat that again. And if you're looking for this, there's a link below this video where you can get the ledger. If you don't control your private keys, you do not control your crypto. And now I'm going to switch it over to an AMA. So if you guys have any questions for me in the chat box, like always, please put your questions and I'll take a look at them. Okay. Okay, from Dry Desert, Komodo were the first with atomic swaps, I think. The first time I heard it was actually with Charlie Lee with Litecoin and Decreed, I believe. I don't know if it was Decreed. I may be mistaken, but it was with Charlie Lee, Litecoin to something. But yeah, atomic swaps, I'm super bullish on them. I can't wait, creating a smart contract bridge between one chain to the next, right? And the bridge acts like an escrow. So if I have an Ether here, I can put it over here. It's an escrow while the next coin comes over, then that will be burnt. And then I'll get that over in real time. It's awesome. Okay. From Anupam, what do I think about exchanges which are built on EOS? I actually don't know any, I would say dApps or whatever you want to call them being built on EOS. EOS isn't even on mainnet yet until what, sometime in June. So I'm quite in dark of EOS. I have no comments or I don't have any opinion because I'm not educated on it. But what I am, I will tell you. Ameer, what's your opinion on ASIC? Should we be concerned with centralization in Bitmain? Look what I have in front of me. So if you guys haven't read this article, and this is a question from Israel, it's by David Vorick. Go on Medium and type in the state of cryptocurrency mining. It's a fucking must read. I mean, I'm going to read this a couple of times. I already knew this. Like even majority of algorithms that say they are ASIC resistant, they're not per se. The hardware can bypass their software patches. And so read this, please read this by David Vorick, The State of Cryptocurrency Mining. From Luke Townley, it's all very well having your own private key, but have you really got monetary sovereignty if you don't run your own node? Well, there's a complete difference. What kind of node are you running? Are you running a full Bitcoin node? Are you running a full Ethereum node? like what it is right now to even download a full Bitcoin. Bitcoin, what size? I don't even know how many. What's the size of it right now? Where is it? It's 150 gigabytes right now, or even more. This is December. It's like 160 gigabytes right now to download a full node. You could download your node, but then again, if someone breaks into your house and grabs your computer, then what? Or grabs your server. You know, for the regular people, for the most part, and it also depends on like your situation. But for me, I would have not just a cold storage like this. I would have an asymmetrical system where you have multi-sigs, right? Where you have, if you need multiple devices together to access everything. So even if you lose one or two, or let's say something happens to you, all pieces must be there, whether that is through private keys, seed phrases, or devices to access the total amount. So in the future, crypto, it's only going to be about asymmetrical attacks versus symmetrical attack, meaning point of failures. It's going to be really bad if someone just needs to get your password to access all your crypto, or if somebody just gets your ledger and tells you, give me your fucking password and they get all your crypto. That's bad. So multi-signatures is a must. From Estopa, in a decentralized exchange that's going to be just between crypto pairs, no fiat. You think that we first have to tokenize a world before the step? No. 0x is live right now. And decentralized exchange doesn't mean no fiat. There is going to be a fiat gateway. The fiat gateway, though, will be an independent gateway as opposed to a bank or a Visa. Like you as an individual can become a fiat gateway. Poloniex is centralized or decentralized. This is from Pimi Dato. Poloniex is centralized, and pretty sure who bought Poloniex this year? $400 million. Yeah, Circle. Circle bought Poloniex in February for $400 million. So now Circle owns it. Smart move on them. That's actually a brilliant move. Oh my God, so awesome. From Negan, what do I think about Zcash to Gemini? Is this a good thing for crypto? I read in different places Zcash does not provide the best privacy. I think the more adoption is a great thing. So it's not looking at just the snapshot of the story or the snapshot of if Zcash is going to Gemini. You need to take a broader view of everything. So looking at net utility benefit to the greater ecosystem. So what's going to happen? More people are exposed to Zcash. More people will put into Zcash. More people will understand what it is. So when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at net utility benefit and ecosystem. The more people involved in the space, especially specifically for privacy currencies, and I know people have different opinions on, the ceremony of Zcash, is it safe or is it not, with ZK Snarks versus Monero with ring signatures. I'm not even talking about that right now. All I give a fuck about is actually more eyeballs are now exposed to privacy coins, which is better in the long run. This is from Aldo Villamila. I need to learn programming. Yeah, learn programming. There's a bunch of free courses online for like Java, JavaScript, Go, Python, etc. Go for it. And then if you want to learn some blockchain, go to blockgeeks.com. From Luke Townley, is Rootstock or EOS Ethereum killer? No, because there is no Ethereum killer. There's no absolutes. Even in business, there is no X killer, especially in this space where you have monetary value attached to businesses that's liquid. It's not just money. It's what is EOS doing to attract developers, and why are developers going to program on EOS as opposed to Ethereum? Why do dApps make more sense on EOS? And in general, why do even dApps make sense? I think for the most part, in the short term, not long term, but in the short term, dApps make no sense. They're not. They don't give you a unique value proposition over regular businesses. And so is it Ethereum killer? No, we're so early in the space. So early in the space. I will personally say none of those are Ethereum killers. They're all maybe actually beneficial to each other to see how they coordinate and correspond in this more or less open source ecosystem. Hourglass. Amir, how much DMT did I take before this live stream? Not enough. From Ben Smith, hey Amir, what do you think will thrive more, decentralized or centralized ICOs exchange? In the future, I hope. I don't like the word hope. I would like to at least commit and contribute, and we are, me, my team, and myself. Decentralized. I think centralized obviously plays an important role. I've done a lot in the space, but I think in the future for crypto to survive and for the crypto's true purpose, like think about it, it's an oxymoron. Like I need to go through gatekeepers to buy a decentralized open source coin. Makes no fucking sense in my head. And so, yes, I'm very bullish on decentralized exchanges. From Dry Desert, I assume privacy coins will be eventually outlawed. Who knows? Maybe. Bitcoin, I think, is outlawed in Venezuela. Side note, cryptography was outlawed in the 70s. It was illegal to export cryptographic code. And they used to export it from T-shirts in the airport. They'd actually print the code on the shirt. From Timeaholic, Amir went back and watched a ton of your old videos. I'm working towards better sleep. And the one thing this week, thank you for your service, bro. Awesome, man. Yeah, I should get back into more biohacking videos. Israel, do I actively trade crypto? No, I don't trade. I probably have 4 or 5 positions I've been holding for years and continue holding. What do I think of modafinil? This is Stuffle84. Modafinil and kratom. Kratom I've used a couple of times. Modafinil I've used a bunch. It all depends on your biochemistry, your genetics, and why you're using it. Those are last resorts. You should first fix your diet. You should first fix your sleep. You should first fix your stress, meaning reduce your stress. Like sleep's a big one. I can't even stress how many people don't fucking sleep properly. It's fucked up. Luke Townley, Amir, do I follow Kanon? I hope I pronounced that correctly with a Q as a K. No, I don't know he or she or they or who or they Kanon is. Crypto Nance, what are your thoughts on Polymath? Have you met the team since they're also, I know Polymath well. I know Trevor before the crypto days. Yeah, they're a company doing its thing. I have no opinion about them. I'm not into security tokens, so I can't really say much. This is from Eugene. Thoughts on Neo Smart ecosystem? Their dApps actually look promising as opposed to Ethereum's white paper, vaporware. Neo, I don't know. Last I heard, they only have 8 nodes running or something like that. Probably going to be bullish for Neo for the Chinese market, I guess. That's what they're going for. I haven't personally looked deep into Neo. I don't know who runs Neo. I don't know what their value prop is over anybody else. But like I said, the more players you have in this space, the more developers building on all these platforms, the more experiments we have, the more feedback we have, the more feedback we have, the more knowledge we have, the more knowledge we have, the faster we grow, and the more securely we grow. So it's good. Krypton, I see, but what about all the hype being generated in the whole security tokens? Is Blockgeeks looking to maybe doing more research into security tokens? No, Blockgeeks, we might do a guide, but we just focus on training devs. You know, we're not into finances or any of that shit. Stofa, what do I think about real-world asset tokenization? The only thing that I like currently that actually solves a legitimate fucking problem is fractional ownership of real estate. Not even real estate for investing, like actually owning something for whether it's a multi-home unit, whether it's any form, whether it's land. But I'll give you an example. You know, in Toronto, the average home is about 20. I was going to say 20%. The average home in Toronto is $1 million. Actually, you won't find a home cheaper in Toronto than $1 million. Like that's the cheapest. And so for you to buy that $1 million home, you need 20%. That means $200,000. I don't know about you, but I don't know too many people walking around $200,000 or $200,000 in their pocket. And so this prices out a lot of people. That means they got to leave outside of Toronto, etc. to buy a home underneath $1 million, so they can put 5%, like 20K, 30K, which is doable for them. But in Toronto, 200K, like no one's fucking walking around with the cash. So imagine like a group of 5 of us, like, okay, well, we're not going to buy a house in Toronto, but we want to invest in this like apartment unit or whatever. Maybe we know for a fact, statistically speaking, this neighborhood property has been going up like 12, 14% per year compounded. So it's a great bet against inflation and issues in the market. And so here's an opportunity for Jane and Joan that doesn't have to be accredited investors, which I think accredited investors is fucking retarded. That's why I think like the whole security tokens, like, hey, if you're going to make security tokens in the future, fuck the accreditation. Like if you have to be accredited investor, then it defeats the whole fucking purpose of crypto in the first place. So fuck that shit. And so going back to the tokenization of real estate, now you and I were like, hey man, I only got 3K, but I want to invest 3K in this $2 million property and get my 0.2% of equity in it. And where the power now comes in is you have liquidity. So you can have clauses where it's like, okay, you can invest in, you must hold for 6 to 7 months. Now, after 6 to 7 months, you have liquidity. If you want to sell, if the value of the property has gone up, you can sell to your existing equity partners within that real estate, whether it's a house or land, whatever. So it gives accessibility and democratization and to people who would necessarily not have access to this, and also gives accessibility and liquidation to cash that would be tied into capital. The cash would be tied into capital, and the only way to actually redeem that capital would be selling the whole property. Now you can actually sell pieces of that property to your fellow equity stakeholders. And imagine having this all on a decentralized platform run by smart contracts where deeds are actually transferred over from person to person. Fucking awesome. $1 million could buy 10 to 15 apartments in Argentina. I bet it could. But that's the price. And still, Toronto compared to New York and San Francisco, we're fucking dirt cheap. I mean, dirt cheap compared to San Fran and New York. Okay, next question. Did you see the bankers against Bitcoin? I did. I tweeted that. That was awesome. So it was hired actors by this organization. I forget the name of them. It was great. Good on them. I love it. From Hamid Himit. I live in San Francisco. You're right. Yeah, San Fran's fucking expensive, man. Like, if you do a Google search right now, square foot cost San Fran. I don't know. Square foot cost price. This is old. Let me see. It's 1,000 a square foot. And I think Toronto's like 400 only or something like that. Yeah, that's old. I think San Francisco's like 2,000-3,000, and 1,000 it's in Toronto. Yeah, it's like triple. Do I know any tokens related to property thing you just talked about? No, because these tokens are not. These tokens would be at least for now, would be a regulated token. Like that's the thing. These tokens are not liquid on fucking exchanges. You're not just changing equity on fucking exchanges. These tokens will be locked. That's the whole point of equity in a house or property in general. Luke Townley, censorship-resistant money is a problem the crypto is solving. What other big problems are out there the crypto can realistically fix? Governance, new ways of actually voting is really interesting with a token model for voting, not actually for speculating. I think a lot of these speculation tokens will be gone in within a year or two, or I'll say 2-3 years. But governance tokens are very fascinating things. Privacy and privacy, same word, but different English language. That is really important. So controlling our speech, You know, more and more as you see what's happening in social media, censorship is happening. Political systems are coming in, but obviously there's a dark side. I mentioned this earlier. For example, if we do have censorship-resistant social media platforms, you know, how do you stop sex trafficking? You know, how do you stop all these other issues? And this is where you have self-governance with tokens coming. Like, I think it's really hard to predict what's going to happen in the future, but privacy, identity, and still the most important is a peer-to-peer currency that we can use that's fast, cheap, and reliable and stable. Hourglass. I think most people are underlooking the Asian market. Let's not forget fucking Samsung came from South Korea, and China makes most of the US goods. Neon Icon will soar. Oh, no doubt about that. You know, we're going to have geographical, I wouldn't say winners, but same thing like in business. You're going to have geographical domination in certain areas. Always knew what actually makes a token more valuable in your opinion. Well, one, what the fuck's the purpose of the token? Majority of these tokens are just there to do nothing. They're utility tokens. And so they're forcing me to buy their tokens to just enter their ecosystem. So I'm not going to use their token. What makes a token valuable? Is it an intricate part of the ecosystem? Meaning, and this is being honest with yourself and honest with the platform that you think needs a token. If you take their token out of their system, and 99% of them don't need a token, and so you can ask yourself this question: if you take their token out of their system, does your system still work? And 99% of the time is yes, it still works. So there's no need for a token. So tokens function in governance, staking, curation markets are interesting tokens. Majority of tokens you see today are payment tokens or utility tokens where they call it utility. It's not really a fucking utility. They call it, but it's not. They're just a way to raise money that the token actually has no purpose, legitimately. And even Chris Berniski, I was just watching his consensus video. It wasn't Chris, it was no, Chris tweeted it. It wasn't Chris. It was somebody else at Consensus right now was talking about the fact that it's doubling down on governance tokens. Luke Townley, how likely do you believe Bitcoin has become the world's reserve asset? I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. I'm not too sure. I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin to win, and I don't want Bitcoin to just be an asset. I want Bitcoin to be a currency. I want Bitcoin to be an immutable ledger that has censorship resistance that I can use to operate in a free speech manner from people around the world. From Russ, how early are we in crypto advancement? Can you compare it? Yeah, I would say like we're in the 90s of internet, like Netscape times, but we're exponentially faster because back then the internet didn't really exist, and back then you're still building it. Now we actually have the backbone of the internet, so it's exponential effects right now. Yes, this is from our buddy Jeff, who said this. Anubhav. I'm sorry for Anubhav. Sorry, man, if I butchered your name, but this is from our buddy Jeff. He said, friends don't let friends create a useless token. This is from Edcon. It's true. Friends don't let friends create useless, garbage, idiotic fucking tokens, because that's what they are. And remember, I'm not hating on all the tokens. I do believe some are really fucking good and have amazing teams, but the majority of them out there are just blah, like baffles me. People actually give people money. I'm like, what the fuck? All right, guys, that's it. I'm calling it a day. Thank you so much for being on here, listening to my crazy ass. I'll see you guys in a bit. Peace and adios.